Sorry for that interruption. It has to do with it has to do with my lack of efficiency in making videos. I'll get better with time, especially if I'm not fasting. I decided to do this in Ramadan. Thought it was a good idea at the time. I read you these verses, and it struck me in the time of Corona that Allah sends signs. So, we all religiously oriented people of whatever faith persuasion believe that Corona is a sign. I certainly do. Now, if we want to believe the so-called rumor that this is just a sleazy plot by some New World Order to confuse us and separate us and deny us, deprive us, scare us, whatever. Whatever, Allah is allowing it to be such. So Allah calls himself the first and the last. He is the first cause of everything. And he will have the final say in everything. Let's return back to the book, Shifa al-Alil by Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi. And now that you have heard it in English, as you know, I enjoy reading it to you in Arabic, and then he explains things in more detail. So I think because of this subject as being the last that I'm going to be doing, the next lesson will be on a totally different topic. So let's make sure that you understand about this final word on what is called al-kitaba and what is known as al-kitab. Al-kitab is the writing of al-kitab, which is up above with Allah. It's known as the Lawhun Mahfuz, the preserved tablet, which was written before the beginning of us, that's for sure. Now let's return to the Arabic. This is my special way of avoiding getting bifocals. I know, it looks very silly. A friend said to me, "Why are you wearing two glasses?" I had to explain it to her, but anyway. It begins with a verse. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقالوا لولا نزل عليه آية من ربه قل إن الله قادر على أن ينزل آية ولكن أكثرهم لا يعلمون. When the question is posed, why doesn't Allah send a sign? The answer is Allah is quite capable of sending signs. But most of them don't know. لا يعلمون. فنبئهم على أعظم الآيات وأدلها على الصدق رسول الله. Tell them about a most magnificent verse which shows them the truthfulness of the Prophet Muhammad. وهو الكتاب الذي This isn't working. فهو الكتاب الذي يتضمن بيان كل شيء ولم يفرط فيه من شيء. He's saying that the biggest ayah, which is meaning a sign, not just a verse, a sign, is the book. This Quran that was given to Prophet Muhammad surely must prove to you that Prophet Muhammad was sent by Allah because of the majesty of the book. لم يفرط فيه من شيء means nothing's left out. ثم نبئهم بأنهم أمة من جملة الأمم. They are communities like all communities. التي في السماوات والأرض, in the earth and sky. وهذه يتضمن التعريف بوجود الخالق. This proves that there is a creator. وكمال قدرته, and his absolute total capability. وعلمه واسع, and his wide knowledge. وَاسِعَ مُلْكُ وَكُثْرَةْ جُنُودُ. He has a huge kingdom and many armies. وَالْأُمَمْ الَّتِي لَا يَحْصِيهَا غَيْرُهُ. And communities that no one can imagine except him. لا يحصيها, it means you cannot calculate, comprehend. وهذا يتضمن أنه لا إله غيره. And this includes the fact that there is nothing to be worshipped but him. ولا رب سواء, and no Lord except him. وأنه رب العالمين, and he is the Lord of the worlds. فهذا دليل على وحدانية. This is the proof of the unity of him with his creation, وصفات كمالي, and his complete attributes, من جهة خلقه وقدره, from the point of view of his creation and his capabilities of what he can do to or with or for his creation. Moving on. وانزل الكتاب الذي لم يفرط فيه من شيء دليل من جهة أمره وكلامه. The fact that he sent the book proves that he will give orders by his words. فهذا استدلال بأمري وذلك بخلقي. And here's the verse. ألا له خلق والأمر تبارك الله رب العالمين. Allah asks us, doesn't he have the creation? Doesn't he have the order? If you think about this, it's a very deep verse. ألا له الخلق والأمر. له الخلق, therefore he has the amr. He created and he determines what's going to happen. الخلق والأمر. وشهد لهذا أيضا قوله also وقالوا لولا أنزل عليه آيات من ربه قل إنما الآيات عند الله وإنما أنا نذير مبين. Mentioning here that these signs are with Allah, and there's a clear warning. أَوْلَمْ يَكْفِيهِمْ أَنْ أَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ. Isn't it enough that I sent you the book? يُؤْلَ عَلَيْهِمْ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَا رَحْمَةً وَذِكْرَى لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ. This is for those who believe. This dhikr is sent down لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ. ولمن نصر أن المراد بالكتاب اللوح المحفوظ. Those who want to really know that this is up, the kitab is up with Allah before anything was revealed down here. لما سألوا آية أخبرهم سبحانه بأنه لم يترك إنزالها لعدم قدرته على ذلك. When they question where's the ayah, say, hold on. In other words, hold on, he is perfectly capable of sending it down. إنه قادر على ذلك وإنما لم ينزلها الحكمة. His not sending it down, when it's not sent yet, has wisdom, hikmah wa rahmah bihim, and mercy, wa ihsanahu ilayhim, and it's good for them. إذا لو أنزلها على وفق اقتراحهم لأجولهم, if he sent it down to agree with their hurry up and do it, لأجولهم بالعقوبة, they would be punished very quickly. إن لم يؤمنوا, if they didn't believe. ثم ذكر ما يدل على كمال القدرة بخلق الأمم العظيمة التي لا يحصى عددها إلا هو. And then he's reminding you, look at all these other creations, all these other many, that nobody can even calculate except him. فمن قدر على خلق هذه الأمم مع الاختلاف أجناسهم وأنواعهم وصفاتهم وهيئاتهم So the one who is capable to create all these different forms of life, by all the different nationalities and variations and the outward appearances, their bodies, their behaviors. How could this creator not be able to send down sign? And then he informs you of his total control and capabilities and knowledge. بأن هؤلاء قد أحصاهم وكتبهم وقدر أرزاقهم وآجالهم وأحوالهم في كتاب لم يفرط فيه من شيء. And he again explains that this Allah, who is controlling everything, is sending down, when he wills, everything we need, when we need it, how we need it, because he knows ahwalihim, waj'alihim. He knows how long we're going to be living. He knows our condition that we're in. He's not avoiding or escaping anything. ثم يحشر إليه, and then we go back to him. وَالَّذِينَ كَذَبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا صُمٌّ بُكْمٌ فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ. That's what I just read to you. Those who don't believe this are deaf and dumb, and they're in the shadows, and they don't believe. It's fact. So when we read these things, we know that not everyone's going to believe. And we accept that, and we don't let it bother us. Honestly, this is hard for me because I get extremely bothered. How can you not believe? Are you stupid? Well, Allah calls them deaf and dumb. And in other places, blind as well. So don't worry about it. He knows who's going to believe and who isn't going to believe. He said, those who لا تستقل بالهدى ولو أنزلها على وقف اقتراح البشر بل الأمر كله له من يشاء يضلله ومن يشاء يجعله على الصراط المستقيم. He will guide those he will, and he will leave astray those he will. حاميم والكتاب المبين إنا جعلناه قرآنا عربيا لعلهم تعقلون وإنه في الكتاب لدينا لعلي حكيم. Allah says he sent this book as an Arabic book, Qur'anan Arabiyan, an Arabic Qur'an. لعلكم تعقلون, so that you would think properly. Use your aql, use your brain. وَإِنَّهُ فِي الْكِتَابِ, and it's part of the الْكِتاب. لدينا, which is with us, لعلي حكيم. It's high and wise. قال Ibn Abbas, and you know who he is. He's one of the great narrators of hadith in the time of the Prophet Muhammad. في لوح محفوظ المقرأ عندنا, regarding this لوح محفوظ, he said قال مقاتل إن نسختي في أصل الكتاب وهو لوح محفوظ. The basis of the foundation of the book is the لوح محفوظ, which is up above. الكتاب أصل الكتاب كل شيء أصله. The mother of the kitab is the basic and foundation of all the other books sent down. والقرآن كتبه الله في لوح محفوظ قبل خلق السماوات والأرض. And then this verse, بل هو قرآن مجيد في لوح محفوظ. There, he's telling you here in this Quranic verse that it is a Quran Majid, a glorious Quran, fi lawhin mahfuz, which is contained up above in the lawhin mahfuz. فمن أظلم ممن افترى على الله كذبا وكذب بآياته أولئك ينالهم نصيبهم من الكتاب. Who is more astray than one who doesn't accept these verses? Who is more astray than one who doesn't accept these verses? It's a good question. I don't think there is anyone more astray than someone who doesn't accept these verses. And to close, قال سعيد بن جبير ومجاهد وعطية, these are also the Sahabi, أي ما سبق لهم في الكتاب من شفاء وسعادة. ثم قرأ عطية فريقا هدى وفريقا حق عليهم الضلالة. فريقا is a group of them. هدى, they were guided. وفريقا حق عليهم الضلالة. This is a verse. This one verse would be enough to prove the point, I believe. And this is in Surah Al-Araf, if you would like to look it up, verse 30. If anyone doesn't understand this concept, and most people don't, how it is predetermined who will believe and who will not believe. There's your one verse. It's in the Quran. I'll read it again. فَرِيقًا هَدَى وَفَرِيقًا حَقَّ عَلَيْهِمَ الضَّلَالَةِ. حَقَّ عَلَيْهِمَ الضَّلَالَةِ. They deserve to be astray. In case you ever get into a discussion, these philosophical types of secularists, their favorite subject is anything that denies Allah in any way, shape, or form. Just, there's no such thing. By the way, that reminds me, on the subject of Buddhism, which I've studied deeply, and much of it I really enjoy, I have to say. However, the precepts and concepts may seem very close to Islam in many ways. Not being attached to this world and being submissive to whatever happens, etc. But I saw with my eyes and heard with my ears over the internet, I think it was one of those, similar to a TED Talk where they bring a guest, an honored guest, and it was the Dalai Lama of Tibet. And I wanted to listen because I'm curious about these things. And I heard him say, the most preposterous idea ever believed by humans is that there is a supreme being who created us and to whom we will return to be judged. Just to let you know, don't be led astray. Be careful of the saffron robes. Prophet Muhammad has said, don't wear that color. Be careful, men, of shaving your head. Prophet Muhammad has said, don't do that. Be careful of using bells in worshiping. No bells. No Christian bells ringing, no Buddhist bells ringing. And another thing I want to just point out is, what's this? What's this that's going on now? What is this? This. There's even an emoji. We don't do this. And I've seen people do this. Muslims, especially the young people, it's part of a vogue to do this. No, we do this. We open our hands. I may mention that this is very Buddhist, and it is also the way the Christian Catholics, I was Catholic from my family, and this is how we pray. Just an aside. There's a lot more that I would like to read. I'm only going to read a little bit more, though, because we're already up to 20 minutes. This book came أن يناله قبل أن يخلقوا. لهذا القول وجه حسن، وهو أن نصيب المؤمنين منه الرحمة والسعادة. This is meant to bring you happiness and mercy, this book. ونصيب هؤلاء منه, the bad ones are going to get العذاب والشقاء. فنصيب كل فريق منه ما اختياره. You see, he's going to get, every group, what he chose. But Allah chose that he would choose. That's the part that some people find tricky. What do you mean? I choose or he chooses? Well, both. In the sphere of the Almighty Allah, he chooses. But as I call it, sphere or platform, in your worldly life, you get to choose. And then that choice that you make coincides exactly with what Allah already knew that you would choose. كما أن الحظ المؤمنين منه كان هدى ورحمة. فحظ هؤلاء منه الضلال والخيبة. Haz, many people say it means luck. No, Haz doesn't mean luck. Haz means your portion of what you get. The believers will get guidance and mercy, and the others will get waywardness. And khayba means they'll just be they're a mess. Khayba, it's horror for them. فكان حظهم من هذه النعمة أن صارت نقمة. The favor that Allah gave has turned now into a big problem. وحسرت عليهم وقريب من هذا القول. And the Quran says, وتجعلون رزقكم أنكم تكذبون. That's what the verse says. They made their rizq that they lie. Tukadibun means they deny what was given to them. And speaking of denying what was given to them, it's a nice way to end. I'm going to end with a couple of verses. One of my favorite verses, actually. But before that, we'll preface it by saying, وكتب مقتضى أسمائه وصفاته وآثارها كما في صحيحين من حديث. He wrote his names and attributes and the effects that they will have in Sahihain, which, as you know, is Bukhari, Muslim, the true hadith, absolutely undeniable hadith collections. Min hadith Abi Zannad and A'raj and Abi Huraira, the narrators, and with Abi Huraira. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لما قضى الله الخلق. When Allah created everything, كتب في كتابه, he wrote in his book, فهو عنده فوق العرش, and this book is with him above everything. إن رحمتي غلبت غضبي. It's nice that we remember this because so many people portray Islam as being cruel, unyielding, something that, why would anyone want to adopt it when Christianity is so lovable? I've heard that so many times. All you need is love. No, it's not all you need. That's an illusion. You need justice, and you need knowledge. Allah said He is all merciful. And this hadith tells us that He wrote upon Himself that His mercy comes first and comes over His anger. Think about that one now, because we begin every surah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And as I told you before, the translation, the merciful, compassionate, doesn't quite make it, because that means the same thing in English. Merciful, full of mercy; compassionate, full of compassion. However, if you analyze it in the correct way, His mercy is one of His names, that He is essentially filled with mercy. And I suppose the ongoing doing of that could be termed compassionate. It's not totally wrong, but if you get it in Arabic, it's totally right, which is why I always say, please learn Arabic if you can, slowly but surely. Start with the letters in any way, in any YouTube video, not to have conversations with other Muslim Arabs, no. Because then you'll be learning the dialect, and that's not going to do you any good. It's going to confuse you. You want to learn the real Arabic. It's termed Fusha. Some say it's called classical Arabic. But I say it's Quranic Arabic. And when you use this Arabic, Allah will lighten your heart, and inshallah you can enlighten others who have forgotten it. I had a great sheikh once tell me, you will teach the Arabs Arabic. And that was about 30 years ago, when I didn't know Arabic. Sometimes people who are extremely pious have insight. It's called farasa or basira. But you have to be really praying constantly, reading Quran constantly. These are few people. And this is why I do understand the concept in Christianity of saints, because these are people who did nothing but good their entire lives. They were special. They were above the common man in every way, selfless and extremely giving, loving, etc. But then the Pope decides to canonize them, and that's a whole other issue. You see, that leads people to pray to them. And although I do believe in these, quote, holy men, women, unquote, be careful that you don't pray to them. That sheikh that I just mentioned that said you're going to teach the Arabs Arabic because they've lost interest, I asked to have his picture once. Please let me take your picture. And he said, no, why? I don't like my picture. And I said, just so I can remember you. He said, remember Allah. It's better for you. See, those types of people. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.